audition. It was for a local theater here in San Francisco, and it was actually, this was when I first started out as after my lawyer days when I started out acting. But it was all of the auditioners were in the same room, right? And we all had to go up and read it. It was for this family that we were all a part of. So I went up and everyone was doing their thing, and I put on, I was supposed to, you know, for each character that I auditioned as, because they just had us keep reading, I put on a different voice for like the mother family. So all of the other actors with it was without hands down that I was the best actor for the role of the mother. And they decided it wouldn't look like a family if I were there, because I was the only person of color in the room. And so they decided that it wouldn't look like a family. I'm like, well, that sort of looks like my family with my white father and my black mother. Yeah, kind of. So I'm like, and that happened on another Major League Baseball commercial as well. They wanted, I went into audition and they were pairing up husbands and wives, and one of my friends, a white male actor, this white male that I had worked with before, and I knew him really well. So in the spot that they were promoting was that, you know, the wife's driving and it's after a baseball game, and she looks, and her kid's in the back seat, and he's asleep, and it's so cute, and her husband is in the passenger seat, and he's asleep. So she gets out of the car and she carries the baby in the house, and then it's some, you know, tag, and then you see her carry her husband from the car into the house. So I also used to be a football player as well as a shot putter and all that. So I'm very, very strong. So I said, I'm going to actually pick you up in the audition. So when I had to pick him up from the chair, right, they were like, oh, you can just, you know, you can just stop when it comes to that point. I picked him up and carried him. So they were like, wow, but of course they didn't get it because we didn't look like a family. And it's happened so many times. I had an audition recently it was for a weekly web, you know, techie spot. So you'd host this tech show and you'd introduce whatever. And I'm such a geek. So I was like, this is perfect for me, you know, I'm all on top of technology, I do all this stuff. And as I was talking, I could sort of read from the people who were auditioning me that I was way too educated and way too smart for my demographic for the show. Even though obviously if you're doing a tech show, that's what you want. But for me, that's not what they wanted. And it happens, I mean, it happens all the time in this business.
That's a very good point. So.
Oh, and I wanted to, when you were talking about, this is kind of rolling back to an earlier point. My husband is an actor and a director and a playwright, but he also has written some screenplays, and he was commissioned to write a play about Duke Ellington, a biopic about Duke Ellington. And he wrote this really amazing script, and the people were really excited about it, and it was all looking really good. And then they were like, we like it, but can't you get a role in there for Scarlett Johansson? And he was like, no. This is about Duke Ellington touring around in the 30s and 40s, and you know, they're really, yeah, but you can just like, let's make her like sort of the lover. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I really want this to be about him and his family, and it's kind of about his relationship with his son, who's also a musician, and there was like real interesting stuff to talk about there, but everything fell apart because he just wasn't willing to rewrite the piece so that Scarlett Johansson could star in it.
To Hollywoodize it.
And I would want to say too that Michael Sullivan. I would want to say too that there are so many people that you guys have never heard of that have been fighting the good fight. You know, you only hear of the people who are actually able to make it to a certain extent and say, "Oh, I regret the days I did this," and you're like, "Totally lying." Because I'm like, you know, some of us chose never to go down that road, and now you're like, now that I have my money and my fame, I'm gonna say I regret doing this, and you should be doing something different. I'm like, but you got your money and your fame first. So, you know, I remember when that happened with Michael, and I applaud people like Michael Sullivan. That people may not know his name, but he is the leadership that we need. The problem is that we need it to actually be in a place where a lot of people are saying,